Good morning, traders. This is Shane Scott, the moderator of Newsware's Trade Talk. At Trade Talk, we're providing you with the most up-to-the-minute news on the market, along with the facts, themes, and short-term trading ideas for the day ahead. Joining me today is our trading anchor, Bill Olson, who brings over 30 years of institutional trading knowledge to our program. We're going to get things started with our markets update. U.S. futures are trading higher this morning, with S&P futures up 0.24%, Dow futures up 0.19%, and NASDAQ futures up 0.37%. The market is seeing gains in response to the Federal Reserve playing down the risk of persistent inflation. A gauge of dollar strength against numerous peers showed it is at its lowest level since January. Fed comments, which were a reiteration by officials that they expect transitory rather than lasting price pressures from the U.S. economic rebound, have aided market sentiment. Officials Brainard, Bostic, and Bullard said that they wouldn't be surprised to see bottlenecks and supply shortages push prices up in the coming months as the pandemic recedes, but that most of the gains should be temporary. Regardless of the dip in inflation expectation, investors remain cautious about the risk of a pullback in stimulus. They are also monitoring COVID-19 spikes in regions such as Asia. Elsewhere in markets, Treasury yields ticked lower and oil retreated after the biggest two-day gain since March as investors tracked a recovery in demand that may enable the market to accommodate any fresh flows from Iran should the nation's nuclear deal be revived. Over in Europe, the Stock 600 index was on track for a fresh record high, with tech stocks boosted by results from Aviva Group and Cinch AB's share offering. Bill, what are you seeing as far as market updates?
Well, Shane, I'm watching the S&Ps. I've been watching them all morning. They're positive. Looks like we're going to have a good, strong opening today. We're at this 40-20, 48, 40-20, 50-11 on the SPY, so that's a nice positive. Everything looks good. We got some really good economic reports being released this morning, like new home sales for April. They're going to be released in the pre-market. Now, don't expect this number to be really positive. It might be a little weaker than, what everybody's expecting. Consumer confidence should be very good. That's going to be coming out 30 minutes after the market opens. I heard what you're saying about the Fed speaks, and the officials are pushing back against concerns about building inflationary pressures and, reducing the pullback in stimulus. If you remember, throughout this entire downturn, that's what I've been saying. It's like, the cause of this elevated inflation reading that we saw last month is not going to, cause the stimulus to be pulled back. The Fed has been very consistent. I've been following the Fed. I've been very consistent. The Fed is really clear on its policy for months, saying, they keep indicating the same thing, that they're going to let inflation run hot. What do they mean by hot? That's a little bit over 2%. They're going to let this go on for a period of time before they even consider making any changes to monetary policy. So when you see the market start to fluctuate and they're blaming it on elevated inflation levels, remember, the Fed's not going to move until it happens for months. I do have some concerns on the major bank stocks, right now, just because the top six CEOs of the major banks in the U.S. have to appear before the Senate Banking Committee tomorrow. And the next day, on Thursday, they got to appear before the House of Representatives. As I've said, the politicians use these as showcases to get in a sound bite or two. It typically leads to the stock price not being able to follow through, so I'm a little concerned there. But for now, I'm really keeping my eye and my attention on companies' earnings and events that are coming out.
Well, let's go ahead and move into earnings to watch. Bill, tell us what we're seeing there.
Well, it was a little light yesterday, but this morning we started seeing earnings come out. And they're looking okay. I had AutoZone, they beat by $6.34. Ride, which is Lordstown Motors, they missed by 44 cents, but they did it on higher revenue. And Cracker Barrel, CBRL, they just released, I believe. They delivered a third quarter profit on rising revenue, so that's a positive. They beat the consensus by 39 cents, so that looks pretty good. Cracker Barrel Foods, in the pre-market, I believe it is trading higher. Yep, it's up $3. So that was a nice one. But, you got better earnings coming out, a whole slew of them coming out later this week. But we're off to a good start so far today, Tuesday morning.
Any upcoming earning announcements we should know about?
Intuit, that's ticker INTU, India Nancy Tom Under. They're going to be releasing this afternoon. Expected move is 3%. Call put ratio was 1.31. Earnings estimate is $6.50. This is an interesting one. Ramp, R-A-M-P, Richard Apple, Mary Paul. This is Live Ramp Holdings. They're priced for a 5% move when they release this afternoon. Call put ratio yesterday was 7.6. That's very positive. They're expected to only make 2 cents per share. So I think this could really surprise everyone. And you could see a big beat coming out of Live Ramp this afternoon. Toll Brothers, that's ticker TOL, Tom, Oscar, Larry. They're priced for a 7.7% move this afternoon. Call put ratio 2.39, very positive. Earnings per share 80 cents, little high. Let's see if they can beat that. Urban Outfitters, that's ticker URBN, under Richard Boy Nancy, priced for a 7.6% move, and they released this afternoon. Interesting, call put value negative 0.71. EPS for Urban Outfitters is 17 cents. That's what I'm seeing for the earnings for this afternoon, Shane.
Let's go ahead and check out economic reports. Bill, tell us what we're seeing as far as reports today.
Well, at 8:55, we have the Red Book on Johnson's Red Book on retail sales. Then we have new home sales and consumer confidence also due out today. And then we also have Fed speak coming out from the Chicago Fed Bank President Charles Evans is speaking today, and at 10 a.m. we have the Fed's Vice Chair Randall Quarles. He will be speaking as well.
Moving into our morning's critical insights, starting things off with one on Whirlpool, ticker WHR. Whirlpool is launching a collaboration with Google, ticker GOOG, wherein it will be utilizing Google Assistant voice notifications, which is a new function available through Google's intelligent personal assistant software. The voice notification will proactively alert appliance users with updates on status of laundry and dryer cycles, including notifications of when laundry is ready to be moved to the dryer and when drying is complete. Whirlpool's share price is up 0.62% in pre-market. In other news, Japan's JX Nippon aims to sell its British North Sea oil and gas assets in a deal that could fetch up to $1.5 billion. In other news, Valens Semiconductor is set to go public through a SPAC merger with PTK Acquisition, that's ticker PTK. The combined company will be valued at $1.16 billion and will be called Valens and trade on the New York Stock Exchange under the ticker symbol VLN. PTK share price is up 0.81% in pre-market. News on Fisker, ticker FSR. Fisker has signed a product and service agreement with ServiceNow, ticker NOW. Now share price is up 0.37% in pre-market. News on Boston Scientific, ticker BSX. Boston Scientific has completed its CE mark for the Exalt Model B single-use bronchoscope, which is a single-use device designed for bedside procedures in the ICU. A limited market release of the device is expected to commence in Europe in the coming weeks. Boston's share price is up 0.49% in pre-market. BD, ticker BDX, has launched the first industry-ready-to-use iodine-based surgical irrigation system. BD share price is up 0.11% in pre-market. Another SPAC merger story. NRX Pharma has begun trading on NASDAQ under the ticker symbol NRXP following a merger between NeuroX and Big Rock Partners, that's ticker BRPA. In other news, China oil giant Sinopec, ticker SNP, is planning to launch its first green hydrogen production facility in Ordos, Inner Mongolia next year. The project is a $405.9 million investment, wherein the Ordos plant is designed to have an annual production capacity of 20,000 tons. The Chinese state-owned energy firm will also concentrate on fossil fuel-based hydrogen production over the next 5 years and set up 1,000 hydrogen filling stations across the country as part of its carbon neutrality goal. In other news, Boeing, ticker BA, has received a new purchase order to build SMBC Aviation Capital's 737 MAX portfolio to 121 jets. Boeing share price is up 1.13% in pre-market. Lastly, for me, a SPAC named Gig Capital 4, that's ticker GIG, is in talks with BigBear.ai that could take the artificial intelligence company public for a combined value of $1.5 billion. Bill, what are you seeing as far as this morning's news?
Shane, I break my news alerts down into specific sectors. I do, sectors such as industry sectors for oil and Fed speak. I do sectors on, specific events that are coming up. It just really allows me to jump on the news ahead of everyone else. And, you look at any institutional trading desk, they pay a lot of money for content. They're buying information. Charting, that's not really what they do. And, that's why you always see these institutional firms consistently make gains month after month, year after year. I have this FANG alert that I watch regularly, and I noticed that Florida's governor signed a bill yesterday aimed at making big tech platforms more accountable for their content decisions. It's a move really with political overtones that really appears to be likely to draw additional legal challenges, but it's not really good news for the financial, for the FANG stocks today. I'm looking at Google, Germany's antitrust watchdog unit. They launched another probe into whether Google's in Google Ireland and their parent company Alphabet, they just want to know if they're exploiting their market dominance in any way they handle the data. Amazon is really getting closer to that deal to buy MGM Studios. MGM owns all the James Bond franchises and other TV and film shows, and that purchase price is around $9 billion from what I hear. I see Tesla is, Elon Musk is continuing to really publicly support cryptocurrencies. It's kind of a bad idea to do this because the SEC is not going to look positive on him doing this. And I swear this guy is just trying to get himself kicked out as as an employee of Tesla by, continuing to take on the SEC. You don't do that. Looking at my Dow Jones 30 alert, Apple, Apple and Epic Games, they had their closing arguments yesterday. The verdict is not expected for months. The judge was, really interrupting counsel for Epic Games during their closing arguments. So it doesn't really look good. I mean, Apple should come away with a victory here. JP Morgan, I just want to continue to reiterate these major bank CEOs are going to be appearing before the Senate Banking Committee tomorrow. I'm looking at Salesforce, their earnings are coming out Thursday afternoon. 10% move is expected. Stock's had a nice little run. It continues to trade higher. They're in a good segment. Still positive on CRM. I'm also, the Boeing news story, that was big for the additional purchase order of jets that they just recently received. I'm looking at my, option news this morning. Beyond Meat, that's ticker BYND, had really noticeable call activity yesterday. ServiceNow, you mentioned it was up big, but, the put activity was kind of high yesterday in ServiceNow. That's ticker NOW, Nancy Oscar William. Additional stocks that you're going to be seeing some rising call volume, or the rising call volume was seen yesterday. Boy-Sam X-Ray, BSX, TAL, Tom, Apple, Larry, H&R Block, Henry, Richard, Boy, Allstate, ticker AAL, Apple, Larry. On the put side, with increased volume, we saw EDU, Edward David Under, CLVS, Charlie, Larry, Victor, Sam, and BLDP, Boy, Larry, David, Paul. Events that were going on today, we got some interesting shareholders meetings at 8:30 this morning. iRobot, that's ticker IRBT. They're going to be holding their shareholders meeting at 8:30 a.m. 9 a.m. Merck, ticker MRK. Michael Richard Kelo, shareholders meeting starts at 9. Allstate, 12 o'clock. Allstate's holding their shareholders meeting at noon today. In terms of guidance, UAL, this is United Airlines, they raised their second quarter guidance as demand shifts closer to the 2019 levels, and the company now expects third quarter 2021 adjusted EBITDA to be positive. That's good news. However, I also noticed that United Airlines, the company and its pilots union have agreed to an agreement to prohibit the airline from mandating COVID-19 vaccination to its pilots, which I kind of feel is a little odd. Better hope they don't get that story. That story doesn't gain a lot of attention because it wouldn't be good for UAL. Those are the stories that I'm watching today, Shane.
Let's go ahead and move into our Trade Talk picks for today. I'm picking Boston Scientific, ticker BSX. So this is pretty big news about the model it's got coming out for this bronchoscope. It's a single-use thing, which is a pretty interesting move on their part, and it's something that's going to be starting with a limited release in Europe. So they've got an interesting product they're bringing out, and it's about to go into motion. They've already got some positivity on it. It's up 0.49% in pre-market, but it can definitely go higher. So this is one I'm expecting to see some green today. What's your pick looking like, Bill?
I'm going with NVIDIA. That's ticker NVDA, Nancy Victor, David Apple. Earnings are coming out. Price for a 4% move. Yesterday's call put option was 2.35. That's very positive. The stories of the chip shortages that are out there, it's not going to affect the profits. The Q1 tracking is said to be above the 5.3 billion, which was the number that they gave as their estimate in their last earnings release. I'm not sure if it'll be able to hold these gains after the earnings, but I do expect it to, be able to move a couple of dollars this morning after earnings are released. I'm going to wait to get my good entry price. I'm not going to jump right in because I think there's going to be an opportunity to get in a little lower, but we'll have to see how the market is behaving at the open to see if that's a factor that's possible. But I'm pushing for making some money in NVIDIA today, ticker NVDA, as an earnings play.
Well, moving into what's hot off the press, this is the news that's hitting the tape as we speak that's going to be moving the markets today. Let's go ahead and look at it. So, Bill, seeing our newswire alerts, which are the ones we should be letting traders know about?
Let's take a look at the NOVN, Nancy, Oscar, Victor, Nancy. They just announced a 1-for-10 reverse stock split. American Airlines, ticker AAL, Apple, Larry. American Airlines Business, Long Haul International, showing positive signs.
One on Nokia, ticker NOK. Nokia has launched an AI use case library on public cloud for telecom providers.
Johnson & Johnson and Moderna, they're seeking approval for their COVID-19 vaccine for adolescents. Morgan Stanley came out with a note on Boeing, that's ticker BA, Boy Apple. Their 737 tracker shows substantial increase in domestic flights in April.
Wingstop, ticker WING, has announced investment in a UK business operated by Lemon Pepper.
Goldman Sachs, ticker GS, they just received regulatory approval to establish a wealth management joint venture with ICBC. That's a Chinese bank.
This is an interesting one just on the point of global news. The U.S. is warning its citizens against traveling to Japan over the country's COVID-19 surge, and this is coming just weeks before the Tokyo Olympics.
Paul Larry, X-Ray Sam. They just warned that supply constraints could still worsen.
Paris Pharma, ticker PIRS, has surged 20% in pre-market on its Genentech deal. Anything else interesting for you, Bill?
No, that's all I'm seeing.
Same here. That'll do it for what's hot off the press. But traders, keep in mind, you can receive the same breaking stories we do simply by subscribing at newsware.com. Check us out for a free trial today. It will definitely up your trading game. Moving into our scoreboard, talking about how our picks did from Monday, I had Micron Technology, ticker MU. It opened at $81.42, and by 12:30 hit a high of $83.56. Traders who sold around here could have had as high as a 2.62% gain. The stock stayed generally higher up until the close, where it did close lower down to $82.90. Still up for the day for any traders that held. And the positive was that if you did hold coming into this morning to pre-market, it's still high. So you made back what you would have made if you sold at noon the day before, and probably then some. So it was a really good pick for us. How did yours end up doing, Bill?
I did ramp. That's a live ramp. That's ticker RAMD, Richard, Apple, Michael, Paul. Stock opened up at 47.44. It hit a high of 48.11. It's over a 1% move higher. It closed at 47.49. The key is that the earnings are this afternoon. I told you about the call volume. I told you about the positive news. If you just read the historical news that's out there on Newsware for ticker RAMP, I think you would be really impressed, and you'd be want to be long the stock.
Nice. Well, that's going to do it for us here at Trade Talk. But traders, you know what to do. Let's get out there. Let's make some green.